Okay, hello, welcome back. And today, I'm teaching you how to use Unity, part 1. So, let's do this. First, you're going to type in Unity into the search bar, and then you will click on the first link that shows up. Now it says Power Better Collaboration and Creativity. This is basically the Unity page in the website, stating the information, the latest products, the updates that they're going to be putting out. So let's click Get Started. Get started. Okay, and then of course you have teams, stuff like Plus, Pro, and Enterprise. These are ideally for big groups of people working on a large project, but I don't think you're going to need Plus, or Pro, or Enterprise. So let's go to Individual, and here you get a Student or Personal. This is to learn the tools and workflows for professionals. They're like at an institution. Then this is the personal free version, which we'll be using. Click on Personal. And then I ideally don't want to go to beta. I ideally want you to get other versions. Then click download for Windows. Click Save File. And here it is. Indie Hobby exe setup. And click on the file. And then it should say, do you want... And there it should say, do you want it to make a change to your device? And you click Accept. Right here it says, please review the license terms before installing Unity Hub. Press down and say I agree, and then locate your file on where Unity Hub will install. Now since I already have Unity Hub, I won't be installing this, but you can click install and browse where you want this to go. Like now I'm going to click cancel, but I'll tell you where you'll be after. Once you open it, it should bring you to this, and then it should bring you to the installs tab of Unity Hub. Once you agree to the user agreement and everything, it should bring you here. And then this is the Unity versions you have installed. Now since this would be empty, we wouldn't have a Unity version. So just because of that, you want to click add, and then I prefer not to go with the limited recommended release, just because it's an early access and it's not our official release right here. So I prefer going with 2021 version or the 2019 version. And then of course you would click select the version to install, and then here it'll say all of the space that's required. Then I like to have Android support already installed. I don't really like to have Mac support, or I do like Universal Windows support, Bubble GL, yes, and Windows support. All these are good ones to have. Click next, and then you'll go on. If you want to, you can go and review before installing. Then click next, and then I have read all the terms and conditions. Click done, and then there should be a pop-up window which should say install file, and then you install it. But I already have my version right here, so I'm going to keep that one. Okay, after that it should bring you to something like this page right here. Now this page right here should be empty for you, But since you've installed Unity, it should bring right there. Now you will actually be able to bring here. Now it should actually be able to bring you here. But now I recommend installing something called Visual Studios, which is the thing that this would use. Now if you don't already have it, you're gonna go to here, the website, Visual Studio, visualstudiosmicrosoft.com, and then you go to download Visual Studios for Windows. You click download Visual Studio, and then you can go either way, but most likely Community. And then you click save file. Since I already have it installed, I'm just gonna click cancel. Now I'll tell you where after the install where it should bring you. Install should bring you to this page where I can't, and of course this will be empty because you don't have a software of Visual Studios available yet. So you go to available, and then you click install at one of them. There's multiple. There's enterprise, but of course I have Visual Studio community. And then of course you click install. Then we'll get things ready. And then of course you click all the ones that you need, but the ones that you will need is this one and this one for create 2D and 3D games with Unity. And then you can click on any other ones that you would like, and you click install, and then it will install on your computer. Okay, and then after once you download it, you can just leave it there, basically. The Unity Hub, and then of course this will be empty for you. You can go ahead and click new project, and then just for simplicity, let's start with 2D. Let's name it my first project. And then of course you can put it towards the location, and then create. It should bring you to somewhere like this. If it's not like in this tall spot, you know, this might be over here, and like project and stuff might be right here. But these are the settings that I like to keep for mine. Like this, plain and simple. I like this for mine. Don't just ignore those errors, because those are other errors from my other projects which always cross into other ones. That's some other project. I'm pretty sure we just played the scene. Those errors should go away. Yep, those errors are gone. And now this is where you will be at. Right here. Now this will usually be a free aspect, and it'll be like the full length of your screen. Okay, but one of the first things I suggest you do is to get everything how you like to want it. Like I said, like you can move this anywhere you like, or whatever. You can move it like this. You can have it like here. I just like to have a dot right there. Then like that. Now you have a folder which says scenes, and then you have a simple scene, which is the scene that we're currently on. See, if I open it, it brings me to the same exact place. And now since that's there, you can do multiple things like create folders and call it art or arts, and then you can drag in art files from there. Right now I'll drag in a file that I drew. Then let me just bring this here. Then boom, you have yourself a little file, and then you can just drag it anywhere, and then you can drag it into the scene. And that's pretty amazing. Let me just resize it. You can resize the tile however you want. You can make it stretched out, you can make it in, you can make it like that, and stretch out the art, whatever you like. You don't even need any art to actually do this. In order to create a new object, scroll under 2D objects and click sprite. And then right now it will be invisible because you don't have something called a sprite under your sprite renderer. Now in order to actually have art like this, you need to have some kind of drawing under your sprite renderer. Since right now we don't have one, I'm just going to choose one of the default ones you get. You don't get the brick one, but you get background, check mark, drop arrow, input field, background, knob, UI mask, or UI sprite. Now I'm just going to click UI sprite. And now you have your little object here without much effort. You can resize them, do whatever you like. And now you can see the camera has the bounds, which you can see a little game preview if you click on the camera. It shows you what you currently have in your scene. Now if I move that right there, that will be cut off. Now if I play it, this is all it gives me. But this is all it gives me because it resizes to my screen. But if I click that and I play it, it will not resize to my screen. If you click maximize on play and then play it again, it will maximize to your screen size. And there's that. But as you notice, if I play it, none of these objects are falling. Well, that's because you need a certain type of thing to deal with things like physics, and that's where you have this add component function. And you click add component, and now you see that you have, I'll give you something like this, and now you have all these different things to play around with. You have meshes, you have things like audio, you have animation, you have rendering, and all these other things. But if you want to have actual physics, you can click something called, well, don't click, but type in something called a rigid body. Now rigid body 2D, since you're doing the 2D dynamic. Now rigid body 2D. Now as you can see, there's a bunch of settings under it, just like the sprite render and the transform. Now the rigid body 2D has multiple things you can mess around with, like it has body type, you can add a material to it, you can keep it simulated or auto mass. There's mass, you know, essentially how much matter the thing's made up of. You have linear drag, you have angular drag, you know, you have all these different constraints and anything. But I usually just like to keep that at 0, and I usually like to multiply this to up to 2. Of course, you have all this stuff. They have constraints. These things are, you can either freeze the position of the object, or you can freeze the rotation of the object. Now, currently, let's pick the static, and let's play it. See, nothing's happening, because it's a static object. Let's maximize this on play, and we put dynamic. And then this will keep falling, as you see in the scene. You can see this object falling for eternity. That will always go down, and it will fall forever. But if we do that, but if you keep the make sure to be careful with this, because if you keep the game on play, and let's say you chase something important, like you want to switch this to dynamic, it'll do it automatically. But if you press unplay again, it will undo anything that you just did. Now that's cool, you know. But let me zoom in. Let's say you want to add some collision. Well, then you drag that in. Oops, I forgot to make this dynamic, and then you play it. Well, then it goes through the object. Now to kind of prevent that from happening, you can add a component to both of the objects called a box collider 2D. Now this essentially fits the dimensions of your render if you add it after the sprite renderer. And then you can edit this box to be the size of however you want. You can make it longer than it, but usually probably want it to be the size of your graphics. Let me undo that. You can also add materials to this. You can select is trigger. You can be used by Infector. You can be used by composite, auto tiling, offset, or whatever. You know, you have all this stuff: edge, radius, offset. Now this is basically the way that objects collide in Unity. Is the box collider really fits that, and then it's also add a box collider. Oh, whoop! See, you can't add a component because it's a new sprite, because the existing rigid body 2D doesn't fit with box collider. That's because I didn't click the 2D one. But if you click the 2D one, let's edit this and let's make it the size of our sprite. Now if we click play, that will hit the object. Let's say move it over here. Then click play. See, it tips over and it rotates. Now if you look at it, as you can see, it's moving for infinity. But it rotated there. Let's say you don't want it to, rotate. And as you can see here, I'm also very far away from objects. So instead of just zooming in like that, if I click F on the camera, I immediately go to the object very quickly. And if I click F on the sprite, you go there very quickly, or this sprite, or the main camera again. So if you want to select the object and like zoom in into it, always click F. And then as you can see here, but let's go back and see that you don't want it to rotate. Let's say you don't want it to rotate. Now you can go to constraints. Under it, you can see freeze position and freeze rotation. Now, if we don't want to rotate, press Z, and now freeze the rotation of the object. Now, if I let it drop, it won't rotate anywhere. Which essentially means it's counteracting physics, but that's what you get when you don't want it to rotate. Now if we drop it, it will go forever, but that essentially counteracts the physics that you have the rigid body under the center of mass and everything. But that's that. And that's really the basics you have here. You know, you can scroll around, you can look up, you can look down, you can connect the grid and stuff. You have all these different options to do with. And now that will be it for the first video on this. So bye.